Okay, so today we're talking about how I joined the EMS realm. When I'm working, I get a lot of questions like, how did you become an EMT? How did you get into this? And I'm just like, I just did. Like, okay, let's talk about EMS. Let's talk about how I got into it. Let's talk about why I got into it. And let's talk about how I'm doing so far. Let's talk about how I climbed the ladder, as you're going to as well. Stay with me. Okay, so I got into EMS because of my high school. She was very cutesy, very demure. She offered me the chance of being in a EMT class, and I took it. I knew the teacher because it was high school. It's like high school senior year. That's when the class was. It was only offered to seniors, but my freshman year Spanish teacher was the teacher, and I was like, oh, I remember this guy. I was afraid of him. He'll be a great teacher. He was, and I passed the class. The class operated as a science class because it was like a high school class, so like it was for a year. We would do skills during the labs, and then like in March for every Wednesday we would stay after and practice like our physical assessments and stuff because I think it was either like in June or like towards like right when school ended, we all took the practical together for the practical skills. In order to become an EMT, in order to complete the class, you need to get 10 patient contacts. The option was to either get your 10 patient contacts in a hospital or by volunteering at a local agency. I volunteered. And my advice to you is to always volunteer because you're always going to volunteer at one point. For nursing, you have to do clinicals. They're forcing you to volunteer. Just volunteer. Oh, it's not paid. You will be okay because the fact that you volunteered opens up the doors for you to get paid because nobody wants you if you don't have experience. So go get your experience. Jolly Volley World, funsies, go make some friends, go learn the intros, the basics, go make your mistakes. Volunteer because it's a safe space to make mistakes. Now, I'm not saying don't trust your local volunteer agencies, although I personally don't trust mine, but trust yours. People are always learning, no matter what. You can go get blood drawn and that's a new phlebotomist. People are always learning, but if you are learning, I would say go to a volunteer agency because that's just such a safe, homey space. If you mess up, someone's jumping in and they're helping you. They're not gonna make you feel like stupid. They're just gonna fix your mistake. They're gonna step in, fix your mistake, and tell you about it, and then that's it. And then you learned. You're not working for some big agency getting paid and you make a mistake and that's like, oh, you're blacklisted. Huh? No, make your mistakes. Be a baby. Be a probie, credential, like climb the ladder. That's what I did. I started volunteering when I was 17 and I was a youth squatter and I didn't know anything because when I was in the class, like the probie class as a youth squatter, I was also in my EMT class. So like they were kind of hand in hand, but my main focus was the EMT class, and then like I would just go to the probie class because like I needed to, so that way I could actually be a part of the agency. But it was just Monday 7 to 10. So after school, I would just go and I would do my little probie class, and then they would have you start riding with a crew. So I would do class Mondays, and then I would ride Fridays, and then that was my shift for a year and a half. And they do that for a reason because they keep you on that one shift. So you get to know the people on that shift, get comfortable with your crew, and then that crew hopefully precepts you. So like, it's a nice, safe environment for you to excel and they start you off in that while you're in the probie class. So that way, whenever you're out of the probie class, if you pass the probie class, you're good. You're set. You already have that, like, sisterhood, brotherhood. You're good already. And it's true, tried and true tested, because Friday nights were the best parts of my week for like over a year. A year and a half, literally the best nights, because I would be with my friends and we'd be in the back of an ambulance, and like being on scene was so fun. Like, I remember after we would like drop our patient off at the hospital, like we'd be like hitting pose, like, what's the pose from that dressing game from Roblox? Dress to Impress? I have a video of like me and like 2 of my friends, and we hit that pose. We busted out laughing. Like, it's just so fun, and nothing beats the thrill of like going to a call, and it's just like, oh, traumatic injury, oh, head struck. It literally feels like Grey's Anatomy, and you're right there. You're there. Do it if you're curious about doing it. What's the harm? YOLO, do it, find out. Because if you don't like it, great. Now you know exactly what not to go for. And if you do like it, that's amazing. It's a great field to be in. Like, long term, it leads obviously to burnout and back problems and probably anger issues. But yeah, for me, it's just a stepping stone, because I did stop volunteering. It was just hard volunteering, having 2 jobs and being a full-time student athlete. I managed it last year as a freshman in college. However, I don't want to do that as a sophomore. Something about volunteering just lost its spark for me. I felt that I got all my experience. Because I was there for over a year, all that a lot of companies want to see was that I had it that year with them. So I felt like I got what I needed from them, so I did leave. So the summer between freshman year and sophomore year, that summer, those 3 months, June to August, I worked 2 jobs, part-time, and I volunteered. So that's like a 55-hour work week, and 5 hours I'm not even getting paid. I worked for 2 companies at the same time because I didn't know if I would pass the physical tests. So I was just like, whichever one I get, and I got both, and I worked both, and it was not fun. It was not fun at all. And I realized that I don't like doing that. But it's still a great experience, because it's how to handle patients, moving patients, communicating with a partner that you don't know. You're with them for 12 hours. It definitely taught me a lot. And then I also did overnights. I would do 2 overnights a week. It was part-time for both. So I would work 2 days and then 2 overnights. Overnights in an ambulance, I did it for 3 months. I can't do it anymore. There's only so many times you can force yourself to fall asleep in a chair upright. And then you're trying to drive in like that 2 to 3 a.m. block of like your eyes closing on you, and you're just like, are we gonna crash? And then like you feel bad waking your partner up because your partner's asleep. So you want to be like, hey, can you drive? And they're like, no, bro, because you're gonna crash too. So like, I've done it. I'm not gonna do it anymore. The current company that I work for, they always have overnights open in the city. I want to take it. I really do, because they're like, oh, we get ran through at night, da da da. In the city, like, that's so fun, but I know myself, and if I'm driving and it's that 2 to 3 a.m., I know for a fact we might be the next patient. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that to myself. I don't think my mom would want me to. She definitely doesn't. She's like anti-overnights, because she saw how I was. I was tired all the time. It's terrible. Because whenever you're sleep deprived, over the summer, this is my schedule. You ready? Sunday into Monday, I'm doing overnight. 6 p.m. Sunday to 7 a.m. Monday. I'd come home. I'd get there. Like, I'd leave. If we left on time, which we kind of sometimes did, a lot of the time, because it wasn't 911, so it was fine. But I would get home at like 7:30, and I'd sleep all day, and then I'd volunteer 7 to midnight, and then I would have Tuesdays off, so I would sleep in. That was my only day of the week that I was like not recovering. Like, that was my free day. And then I would work 8 to 8. Yeah, 8 to 8 on Wednesdays with the different company, and then I would sleep all day Thursday, and then I'd go in at 6 p.m. and then I would leave at 7 a.m. I'd get home at 7:30, sleep. Then I would work 8 to 8 Saturdays. And then yeah, that was literally my week. But for the job, like the company that was 8 to 8, I never ever got out on time. We would have a call at like Stony Brook. We're taking the patient from Stony Brook, we're going somewhere. And it would be like 7, yeah, it would be like 7:30. And they'll be like, you have a job in Greenport. You're taking this patient from Stony Brook to Greenport. They've done that to me 4 times. And I'm not lying. And every time that we get there to the where we're dropping the patient off, like the rehab, assisted living facility. Every time we get there, no one's ever there. When we finally searched the place for a worker, they're like, oh, we were gonna cancel you guys. We just like didn't call, like we were gonna cancel you guys. It was too late. They said you guys were already en route. Because we're getting there, it's like 9:10. And so no one's really there anymore to help this person get back into their bed and stuff. But we would still be sent there. And then we have to drive back. So I was never getting out on time. And that's one thing that I was surprised for when it came to IFT. For 911, that's different. I never expect to get out on time. But IFT, bro? So that was that realm. I did not enjoy it. The PCRs were so tedious and repetitive, but like they asked for more than it needed. Because the PCR was set up for a 911 call. It's not a 911 call. They're fine. They're stable. When were they last well? They're well. That's why they're going home. Like, it was just tedious. Like, if certain people like it, I think one of my old friends, like, they're still in that same place today. Like, they're still doing it. It's easy work. If that's what you want to do, it's easy. Your patients are stable. They're non-critical. If you do get a 911, it's an elderly patient, geriatric patient, hit their head. They fell and they hit their head, so they need to go to the hospital. But you're not doing nothing for them. They're just in pain, and you're just taking them to make sure that they don't have a brain bleed going on. That's literally it. And it's normally at like 3 a.m. I had one patient actually, she like really scarred me. It was 3 a.m. We went to a nursing home, and she was, it was advanced Alzheimer's and dementia. And she was in the stretcher and she was clawing. She was like clawing at the air. And I was just like, you're okay, you're okay. She's like, no, I'm not, I'm gonna die, I don't wanna die. And I'm just like, ma'am, like, you're okay. We're just taking you to the hospital, you're not gonna die, like, you're okay. We're just gonna make sure that everything's fine. She's like, I'm gonna die, I don't wanna die. And like, she was like grabbing at air. And then out of nowhere, she goes quiet. And I'm like, man, like, are you okay? Because like, she was like relentless the whole time. And she goes quiet and she just looks at me, and then she was like, who's that man? Who's that man? And I'm like, it's just me back here. So unless you're saying that I look like a man, I believe like perhaps that you're seeing things, but I didn't say that. I was just like, what man? And she was like, God, it's God. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And I was like, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. And she would like say all that, and then like go to sleep. She'd be like, and then be like, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And like, picture me at 3 a.m. and I'm just like that was my first experience of advanced dementia, and I was just like, wow. So we get to the facility, me and my partner, we're bringing her to the elevator. She looks at me and she looks past me, like behind me, and she's like, who's that man? Who is that man? And I look, because like the way she looked, like she was like looking at something. She was not looking at the wall, like she genuinely saw someone. So I'm like, am I about to see someone standing there with a knife just like ready to just whatever? Yeah, no one was there. No one was standing there. And she was like, you have the house keys, you have this, you have that, he's telling me something about my money, he took my money. And we're like, no one's there, we promise. Hustling, that's what we do. That's what we do in this field. If you don't want to hustle, if you don't like working hard, do not enter this field. Nothing about this is easy. Nothing about the schoolwork to become an EMT is easy. Nothing about everything you have to memorize is easy. Nothing about getting on scene and not knowing what you're doing is fun or easy. What you see and what you deal with is not easy. It's common for a lot of EMTs to work multiple jobs. I don't know why that is. I don't know why I fit into that category as well. It just happens. It is what it is, because a lot of people say we don't get paid enough. For what we do not get paid enough. That is the claim. I hear it damn near every day, and it's even worse for medics because apparently they do a lot more than us, and a lot of them feel that they aren't getting paid enough, and it just hurts to hear. So expect that. But if you do love this, it takes a certain type of person to love this. If you love it, it's worth it. It's just like what you put into it, you get back. You have to put a lot into it. So that's like the thing. And the biggest tip for if you want to be in this field is disconnect yourself. You have to be able to leave the scene and leave the scene. You can't leave the scene and still think about what you saw and still ruminate and, oh, what if I did this, and what if this happened instead. What happened on that scene is on that scene. You cannot go back and tamper with it. It's done. And that is very important in being able to go from a cardiac arrest that didn't make it, DNR, DOA. Sad, yes. Family's crying. It's sad. Your next call can't bring that over. That scene has to stay in that scene. That sadness, that gut wrenching, that like, oh, that reminded me of a loss I had. You can't bring that to your new call, because that's nothing to do with that patient. You have to leave that with. So being able to just let things go and leave it there and just move on to the next. If you can't do that, learning how to do that, that is also something to consider. I didn't think I could do it, and then I left a DOA, cardiac arrest, and it was like nothing happened. It was just a regular night for us. You learn your environment, your crew. And don't ever let anyone tell you you can't do anything. There are a lot of times, even when it comes to nursing, that I hear people say like, I'll be like, yo, what's your major, bro? And they'll be like, oh my God, I'm doing nutrition. I'm like, okay, what do you want to do in nutrition? I want to be a nurse. I'm like, why aren't you in a nursing program, girl? We could have applied together, girl. And then they're like, oh, they told me I don't have the grades, so I just settled for this. Or, oh, I'm just doing human bio because they said I can't. I hear that every time I ask for someone's major. And that's sickening. That's sickening. Maybe that has to do with my college, but that's sickening. And the fact that, like, someone telling you can't do something, that should be the motivation to do it. But for them to just be like, oh, you're right, I'm not gonna even try. No. Don't ever let someone sit here and tell you, like, you're not good enough for that. Watch me be actually, thank you, I needed to hear that. It has to be like that. You have to think like that, because in this healthcare field, everyone's gonna tell you can't. I've been told so many times, like, you're not making it into that program. It's too competitive. And I'm trying anyway. You have to be able to hold your own ground. And people are gonna tell you no. You have to be like, well, guess one of us has to know the truth here, and that's me, not you. No, but yeah, I joined EMS because back in my middle school, there was a class. It was either like you take the science route or the pre-algebra. Girl, I ain't doing no pre-algebra. I took the science route. I'm a science girly through and through. It was a PLTW MD class and medical detective. That's what MD stands for. And our teacher was a guy. He would be like, I have a cough, I have a fever, don't feel well. And be like, okay. So like us as the class, we would all ask questions, try and figure out what he was having, like a diagnosis. And it was just like my favorite class. And I was like, oh my God, I could actually do that. Like, that's a thing. Ever since that class, I was like, I need to be in the medical field. And what are you gonna do when you grow up? Medical field. Didn't even say what, medical field. And to this day, medical field. I'm in it right now. So when I was 17, I'm still in it. And then I'm gonna be a nurse. My thing is, do I still be an EMT if I'm a nurse? My plan is to just leave it alone. Because it's just a stepping stone for me. I do love it, don't get me wrong. I do want to master it, but I'm already burned out. So I don't want to keep going on, but the nursing is going to be even worse. So it's like, I don't even know.